We have a very special video for you guys here today. It's going to be long, it's going to be detailed, and we are going to cover one of the most important motorcycles of this year, one of the newest releases from Indian, the top of their lineup, the Indian Scout 101. We are going to go over all the features of this bike. We're going to give you a ride on the highway, in the twisties, on a mountain road, show you all the great features it has, and go over why this bike is so awesome and so crucial to motorcycle heritage and history. And we're going to get started right now. So starting off this review with the comfort of the bike. I like the risers. I like the slight pullback to the bars. If it were me and I was going to cruise around, I would put bars that have more pullback, but I know that's not the look they were going for here. This bike in particular is not just about performance, it's about looks. It looks incredible. So I can understand why they went for the more riser style and short slam bars across the front. As far as the seat goes, we got a little bit of a bucket down into the seat, a little bit better than the Scout bobber, and we still have the forward controls. As far as comfort goes, across the Scout lineup, it's not my favorite because the Scout with the taller bars would definitely be my favorite there as far as comfort. But for the sportier handling, this gets the edge. So it's like this one will take more points in handling, but just a point less on comfort. So for comfort, we'll give it a solid 7 out of 10. But now the bike is really gonna shine because we're on the highway, we're in sport mode, we're in 5th gear, let's rock. We're in sport mode, you got rain and standard as well, but sport mode's where it's at. That's where I would want to spend most of my time, just having fun. So we've got the new liquid-cooled 1250cc engine in here from Indian. Absolute beast of a performance engine. Absolutely incredible. So much fun if you just want to rip and carve. This is the bike for carving. The Indian Scout. It puts Harley's Nightster to shame. I've ridden the Nightster, the new one. It's pretty cool, but the Scouts kick its butt. The Indian Scout is where it's at. If you want a small performance cruiser style without going for a full-on sport bike, just a bike to absolutely be a nuisance on and be a menace. This is the bike for you. The Scout has incredible performance. Engine braking, nice and smooth, that new 1250. Very, very smooth. So for power, we will give this thing a 10 out of 10. Absolute beast on power. We're going to pull over here, give you guys a walk around of this badass bike. Well, I say that if I can ever find the kickstand. There it is. The Indian Scout 101. The 101 edition is just a heritage edition. It's going back to the original Scout, one of the most powerful bikes in its class ever made over 100 years ago. Indian's heritage is so deep and rich. That's why I'm proud to be an Indian owner. So this bike is their trim package to exemplify that. It is the ultimate Scout. So let's start at the front. We've got the LED Pathfinder headlamp. We've got dual floating Brembo disc brakes, ABS, obviously, gotta have ABS. Liquid cooled, so radiator up front. Beautiful, beautiful paint job. 1250cc engine. I love the red accented trim for the 101. Looks just so crisp and clean. In the back for the shocks, we've got fully adjustable Fox racing shocks. Fox did the shocks, and then they've got the little Indian branding on them, but they are from Fox. 2-into-1 blacked out exhaust. All of the new Scouts have, instead of a key, which is what the Scouts have had in previous model years, the new 2025s have the push to turn on button. We've moved to fobs. All the other Indian models had fobs and they were push to turn on, just like most modern cars are going to. But the Scouts were the last holdouts. They still had keys till this model year. Back up to the front, we have the inverted front fork, which both are fully adjustable here. You've got different preload settings. You've got different adjustment settings. You can see right there, 1 through 10. Not gonna touch that, mess with that, obviously. but the bike is so customizable when it comes to the suspension. Absolutely awesome. This single seat also looks really clean and nice on the Scout 101. Just a great looking bike. Matching front fairing. Don't have that on every Scout. Paint matched for the 101. Such a good looking bike. I believe this also comes in a red for the 101 edition. I think there's a white and red. Put a picture of that on the screen if it does. If it doesn't, I'll let you know on the screen that I'm just an idiot and I wasn't knowing what I was talking about. Indian Ride Command, let's talk about it. So much information here. We got direction, temperature, odometer, digital fuel gauge, gear, RPM, digital speedo. If I don't like the way this looks, I can just tap on it. Now I've got a big digital tach with digital speedo in the middle. Still have the gear indicator. Tap and go back. I like having more info. We can cycle through these things by pressing a toggle up here on our handlebar, or we can swipe through, but we'll hit the toggle up here. Fuel gauge, tire pressure, front and rear. Bike needs to be moving for that to show up. Engine temp, outside air temp, battery level, fuel economy, information about your ride, and then we have navigation. You also have traffic and weather overlay with navigation. If we scroll down here, the highway, you'll see it's green right now, so traffic's moving along pretty well. Normally, if there was no traffic data, it would just be yellow for the highway. But you got traffic and weather radar. That's pretty much it. If we go to the settings here, you can adjust screen brightness or set it to auto. Traction control, you can turn on or off. Obviously, we're going to leave that on. Ride mode, rain, standard, sport. We're in sport because it's the most fun. All right, we've talked about comfort, power, did the walk around. Now it's time for handling. It's a Scout. Handling should be no issue. The handling on these things is fantastic. Short of a sport bike, this thing is the best thing you could possibly ever ride for carving. I love it. Get nice and low on these turns. The lean angle is spectacular. I can't remember it off the top of my head. I'll put it on the screen for you guys. Handling on a Scout is spectacular. I'm getting up on these guys here a little bit. I want some room to be able to accelerate, so I'm going to just back it off and loaf here for a little bit. Let's talk about handling as far as flickability, lane positioning. Let's just say, you know, there's a pothole and or a chipmunk or something runs out in front of you, you need to dodge. Center, back over to left, back over to right, through the turn, middle, back over to left. The handling is just so nimble, so very quick, and so nice. One other feature I forgot to mention earlier, but you do have cruise control on this Scout, which is a super nice feature to have if you're going to be spending any time on the highway and you're not just ripping around like a hooligan like me here on a test ride. Having cruise control is so nice, especially if you need to, you know, sit up straight. If you don't have the taller bars, cruise control can save your back. Just simply being able to set that. I'm gonna see third gear. I wonder if we can set it here. Yep, I set it. I can take one hand off the throttle here. I can sit up. Oh, that makes my back feel so much better just doing that. If I was really going to have a motorcycle for cruising with the Scout lineup, I wouldn't go necessarily for the 101, or if I did, I'd put different bars on it. But if you're into the sporty handling, this is it, man. Oh, also to deactivate the cruise, you can either tap it over here, or you can just roll off the throttle on the right handlebar. You can roll it up top, and it will deactivate the cruise control immediately. Nice little feature on all the Indians. The handling on this thing is superb. The lean angle, the flickability, going through these curves and twists. Handling on the Scouts for me this year in these new 2025s, they've been 10 out of 10. The 101 is no exception. The last thing we're going to talk about is styling. You guys have seen the bike. It looks good. It looks clean. It looks hot. This 101 paint job. What do you guys think of the new Scouts? They still look like the 2024 and prior Scouts to some degree. They've cleaned up the lines a little bit. Obviously the engine looks just a little different. Everything is similar, just tweaked in slightly different ways. So it's not a huge overhaul or some drastic change. when you look at it, you can still immediately identify it as a Scout. The changes have been more subtle. But what do you guys think about the new 2025 lineup? Going back to this Indian heritage with the 101, I think that's the biggest change in looks to the Indian Scout lineup, and I like it. But it does come at a higher price tag than the other Scouts, so there is that to kind of weigh in the balance there. So that's going to do it for my review of the new Indian Scout 101. This bike is awesome. Every bike Indian makes is awesome. I own one. I'm probably biased. Not this bike, but an Indian. And they're just spectacular. They are some of the best made bikes out there. I also own a Harley, so don't come at me for that. But between the two, the edge always goes to Indian. They are just amazing bikes. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. If you have any questions for me as well. I know the American motorcycle market with Harley, Indian. I also know a bit about some of the Honda touring stuff. So if you guys have any questions, comments, let me know down below. I will do my best to answer all of your questions. I love hearing from you guys. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you found this video useful, please hit that thumbs up button. If you're new here and you feel I've earned it, please subscribe to the channel. It's a big red button. Click the bell icon next to it. That'll give you guys notifications when there are new videos to watch here on Motoblade. For all my returning subscribers, thank you so much for coming back. I appreciate all of you guys. And until next time, you guys know what to do. Be careful out there on the road. Ride safe. Ride on. I'll catch you on my next video. From Americade 2024 on the Indian Scout 101. Deuces.